All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. No, it's good afternoon, and welcome to uh, another section of our marketing masterclass. Uh, Please, if you're joining us from wherever you're joining us from this afternoon and morning, afternoon, could you please drop a comment in the comment section? Tell us where you're joining us from, and also let us know what you look forward to in this section this afternoon. Let's see your comments. Hi, where are you joining us from? Good morning, everyone. Hi, Stephen. Good morning. Good to have you. Daniel, welcome. Daniel is joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us this morning. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to marketing. Welcome to Marketing Masterclass, Marketing Analytics Africa's monthly exclusive webinar. Today, we are discussing how data and AI are transforming our marketing across the African continent. We're going to be diving deep into real-world applications, success stories, practical strategies that Africa businesses are using to drive measurable growth. My name is Victor Ojiakina, and I'm joining me today is Lanre Basamta. Together, we will explore how African marketers and businesses are leveraging data intelligence, artificial intelligence to overcome unique market challenges and unlock unprecedented growth opportunities. Today, we will also learn that while global brands talks about AI transformation, uh, what does it look like when implemented in African markets with our unique infrastructure, consumer behavior, and economic dynamics? Joining me, like I said earlier, is Lanre Basamta. Lanre is the CEO and co-founder of Optimus AI Labs. It brings over 2 decades of experience in tech, business, and marketing. With a stellar career shaping brands and driving growth in Nigeria, Lanre held the key leadership role at four of the most uh, notable tech companies out of Africa. It was at InterSwitch, Cellulant Nigeria, Sigma Technology, and System Spec. At InterSwitch, Lanre was responsible for managing a multi-million dollar annual revenue portfolio of more than 80 banks across 14 African countries, delivering and managing the highest impact and most profitable software development across Africa. Is an alumnus of the Lagos Business School, a senior management program. Lanre holds a master's degree in strategic marketing from Metropolitan School of Business and Management, UK, and a degree in political science from the Olabisi and Obajo Agoiwoye. Lanre is going to be joining us this morning. Lanre is currently with us. Hi, Lanre. Hello, Lanre. Hello. It's good to have you. Oh, we see you're head up in Lagos traffic.
Yeah, I'm trusting that you can hear me, right? Can you?
Absolutely, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you,
All right.
Larry.
It's a raining day. I'm on the road, but I mean, I've committed to this session, so I'm sure we can have very intelligent and meaningful conversation all the same.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Larry. We really appreciate the fact that you're here. with us this morning. So I know you have a presentation for the next couple of minutes to run us through what your takes are on AI and data driving experience in Africa. So let me leave you to that. Do you have a presentation up?
I don't know if you want to share from your end. I have a copy with me. And I can just share from here if that's okay too. Can I?
Please, if you can go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna present, share my screen. Um, yeah, let me know when you can see my screen. All right, can you?
Okay, yes, I think your screen is here now. But it's not loading yet. Okay, yeah. Can you put it in full screen mode?
Yes, I'm gonna. Okay, so I mean,
Fantastic.
thank you, Victor, for inviting me, and also to your audience and your partners and your team. I want to say thank you for the honor. I'm thrilled to be here because I struggle a lot with what my public personality and profile has been over the last few years. A lot of the time when I'm asked to speak is either I'm speaking to young persons or I'm speaking about technology, which is okay. I mean, I've been in tech the last 17 years nonstop. But the first, my first attempt at a career was in marketing. Even while I started my career in tech, I was a marketing tech person, and so I feel a lot of honor, a lot of privilege to be able to talk about the intersection between tech and marketing, and what exactly is the place of tech in the evolution of marketing. So I will be sharing, I hope in 10 few minutes, less than 15 minutes certainly, about how data and AI is powering marketing results across Africa. I'll be talking across five major pillars. First is to talk about the current realities. Secondly is to talk about marketing as we know it. Third is the future we see. Fourth is critical takeaways, and then we can have a robust conversation. The truth is the African market is unique, and it's not just unique because we're a continent surrounded by many oceans. It's unique because of its people, the dynamics of our market, the linkages between the market, and the uniqueness, of the continent. Okay, and so the first few thoughts to share is let's take a deep dive into what the market looks like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, when people talk about Africa, it's very easy to parrot what is not working, but I like to start with the uniqueness of our market. Okay, Africa today has the youngest demography in terms of people. Okay, the average age of Africa, for example, I think it was in 2019, was about 19.7 years, less than 20. Okay, and about 60% of our population, okay, are digital native. I mean, imagine it. Once upon a time, just 25 years ago, for example, there was no mobile communication in Nigeria. Think about it. And yet, more than 70% of Nigerians and almost 70% of Africans are under the age of 25. Okay? What it means is that the average African has only known a technology future, a technology laden future. That's exciting. And so, what you have is that we have 70% of mobile penetration is creating massive data opportunities, because every time people use phones or use the internet is digital footprint that we can feed into a model and we can use it to build solutions. Okay, 60% of Africans have mobile phone access, with over 50% of this also having internet. I mean, that's massive. When you think about the fact that Africa has 1.2 billion people, it means that about 700 million of those have phone access. It means that about 350 million people have internet access. That is massive. I mean, that's something that never happened or was not possible just about 10, 15 years ago. Okay. I talked about our demographic dividends. We're the youngest continent. It means that you don't have to struggle. Our future is assured. But much more than that is Africa's capacity to leapfrog digitally. I heard the story that once upon a time there was less than 250,000 phone lines in Nigeria. And then I think it was 25,000 or 50,000 phone lines in Nigeria. And then within 3 years, from 25,000 phone lines, we moved to 5 million subscribers. I think it was within 3 years. So it's very possible for Africa to continue to leapfrog, because this is our first, more likely than not, our first interaction with digital solutions, and we are always embracing them in droves. For example, between 2016 and 2021, about 5 years, internet users increased by 115%. Okay, with 160 million Africans gaining broadband access. What it means is that you would hardly find another continent in the world, except maybe the twin countries of, the three countries of Sri Lanka, India, and China, where you can see this kind of positive numbers. It means that if we have significant scalable solutions, Africans will embrace it en masse. Now let's talk about the bad, because it's not all good. And I'm sure many of you know the bad. So I'm not going to spend too much time there. The biggest problem with African market today is disjointed, is disparate. Okay. We lack integration. I was just reading just before I started driving today about how we are planting so much and harvesting so much, but many of the stuff that we're harvesting, they perish in the market. We call them post-harvest wastages, okay? Because there's no connection. There's no linkages between production, processing, taking to the market, getting them on the shelf, and getting them into the kitchen. We have disconnected markets, from importation and production right to the consumers. Of course, we have multiple barriers. In Africa's alone, in one continent, look at North America. North America is a continent, but they only have two countries, Canada and the US. Africa is almost the size of North America, but we have 51 countries. These 51 countries, they have different, what's it called, borders. They have different language, they have different currency, they have different nuances, and so these barriers are not allowing the continent for us to continue to try, for us to continue to collaborate and drive. The third problem is we have non-literate or illiterate population. So even though we have a lot of young people, many of them with smartphones, many of them still don't have academic literacy. And so what you have is that something that should be an advantage has inadvertently become a disadvantage. And of course, we have government and regulators who are non-digital savvy, okay? They are not taking digital-driven or data-driven decisions. And there's just a lot of chaos and disorder around how we are managing this incredible potential that is our continent. If you moved away from there, there's the ugly that is much worse. Our market has a lot of instability. Every 4 years, when the new government, and not just Nigeria, I'm talking about Africa, there's a new policy. There's what we call policy somersault, and then there's inflation today, there's deflation tomorrow, there's instability. So there's no long-term planning. Investors who want to bring in money, they're not able to do that because of market instability. There's mass poverty and job scarcity. Remember the number of people that I said we have, 1.2 billion people. Many of them are unemployed or underemployed. They are not able to contribute as economic citizens. We have many disruptions in our market. This, I think, is maybe the worst thing about Africa right now. We have many adulteration and copycats. Virtually all the products we have a fake version. And so even the guys that are investing in the market are not seeing returns, right? Because somebody is adulterating and copying, and it's just a chaos, right? And then we have this connection between customers, consumers, and the brands, okay? There's not a lot of brand loyalty and engagement. And then we have what I'll call decline of transgenerational brand. There are not so many brands that were around 100 years ago. I'm not sure there is. Even 50 years ago, in the 70s, I was reading yesterday about a brand that used to make shoes in Nigeria. They used to be called Bata. Okay, it was a very popular brand. Many of us wanted to buy shoes from them when we were in school. I don't know if the brand exists anymore. So we don't have a lot of brand that we'll call transgenerational brand, and that is the harsh reality. Now let's talk some bit about marketing. Okay, we used to have the traditional marketing, and at some point we had digital marketing. If you evaluated the traditional marketing, it used to be that from a spend and strategy trend, okay, typically year on year, people spend about 70% of their marketing budget. Experiential marketing is maybe the baseline or the core of innovation and evolution. PR and media is, is almost always there, and then you always see loyalty and reward program. Think about the days when Coca-Cola will say you should open Crown Cork and say something. Think about the day when brands like Cube will say that you should do some cooking competition. Think about the brand, cowbell mathematics competition and the like. All of those are loyalty and reward programs. However, we're seeing emerging challenges with traditional marketing because of declining product quality. Customer confidence is eroding, and of course, because brand differentiation is also shrinking, you find that even leaders and their challengers are converging. So before, it used to be that in the cola soda space is Coca-Cola. Now there are maybe 5-6 brands that are competing. Even though Coca-Cola still have a giant share of the market, but everybody's competing there. There's not a lot of differentiation. So you find guys like Biggie Cola, you find guys like Pepsi Cola, and many other cola. And so that's what we're having. Traditional marketing is being challenged effectively, and so there's a lot of market pressure, right? The consumer and marketing dynamics is changing. The brands are struggling to stand out in a crowded market. There's erosion of consumer spending because of our inflation and the likes. And then digital marketing is emerging. It's continuously challenging and competing with traditional marketing for budget and attention. Let's talk some bit about digital, right? In the digital marketing space, there's rising digital spend over the last 15 years. From 2010 in particular, many people enterprises are learning to trust digital as a critical channel to help them advocate their brand and drive adoption of their product. Within the digital space, content creation and distribution is at the core of digital campaign. There's reemergence of performance marketing, which is brilliant because at digital level, you can more easily measure the performance of marketing initiatives. And then digital accessibility. I talked about more than 350 million Africans having access to internet. That is major, because what it means now is with a lot of people having access to the internet, we can run more retail campaigns and reach many more people. However, digital also is not without its challenges, okay? Even though the reality says that we have more explosion of digital experts. I was talking, I think last week, and I was saying there was nothing called digital marketing as a body of knowledge when I graduated from the uni 21 years ago. Even 15 years ago, it was just emerging. So today we have explosion of digital experts, but we still have challenges with the regulators trying to regulate the practice of digital marketing and the outcomes that we see from there. Because of digital, there's a lot of erosion of trust due to misinformation, fake news, and the likes. Consumers are now leading the conversation. They're getting empowered. They're more vocal and influential. So it used to be before competition between digital and traditional. Now we're seeing AI in action. I want to try and play this before I speak about AI. Please let me know if you can hear the audio of the video when I play it. All right?
He climbed a 10,000-meter tower just to go viral.
Can you? Can you hear the audio? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Lanre. Yes, we can. We can hear the audio.
Okay, so I'm going to play it now. Good. I'm just going to go to the beginning. This is what AI is doing in marketing and how AI is completely changing the marketing landscape. Let's watch it together.
He climbed a 10,000-meter tower just to go viral, but almost died instead. When he reached the top, he felt invincible, so he pulled out his phone and started live streaming. Views began pouring in, and comments about his bravery flooded the screen. He smiled, soaking in the attention, until the sky rumbled. But then, a deafening crack of thunder echoed behind him. Panicked, he reached for his safety hook to climb down, but it slipped, and he fell from the top. His life flashed before his eyes until he remembered. He was wearing a parachute. He pulled the cord and took a deep breath. But seconds later, the parachute malfunctioned, and he couldn't control where he was going. And now, he was flying straight toward a building with a giant iron door. He braced for impact, but right before he hit, the door opened, and he landed at the best tech store in town, Wi-Fi Computers. From unbeatable deals on products starting at just $99 to a massive selection of MacBooks, desktops, and all-in-ones. Whatever you need, we've got it in stock, and it doesn't stop there. We also offer expert repairs for MacBooks, phones, laptops, and desktops. Whether you're upgrading, repairing, or building something custom, Wi-Fi Computers is your one-stop tech shop.
So with AI, marketing is completely revolutionized because
He climbed a 10,000-meter...
Sorry, let me move. Is the capabilities of machine learning, data science, large language models, small language models, and combination of market ideas about attention, simulations, product marketing, consumer engagement is a fusion of these two collaborations to deliver a new generation of impact, of attention grab, of conversion like you've never seen. And so AI marketing is largely powered by innovation, okay, where you have things like hyper personalization, where you have things like consumer engagement on a different level, where you have immersive content creation and the likes. Now, with AI marketing, there are a few things that I imagine. We're seeing personalization like never before because today we have data, not just geo data in terms, not just bio data in terms of how old you are, what your name is. We have geo data in terms of where you are right now or where you go every day. We have things that we'll call transaction data, meaning that how much do you spend, how much do you have, how much can you save? And then we have data that we call trends data. What are the things you like to buy? Where are the places you like to spend? What are the things you like to spend on? And because of this data bucket, we're able to personalize almost to the immediacy of your need our content targeting to you. Of course, we are seeing a lot of increase in AI adoption. We're seeing interest and a lot of experimentation. I mean, not just big enterprises, but individual companies, what's it called? Media agency. We're seeing a closing of the gap between virtual and real markets, okay, what we call virtual reality and actual market. We're seeing the emergence of new consumer brands, and then there's a lot of investment. Of course, there are potential risks in the future. Currently, we have some significant lack in local AI-ready data. The AI rise threatens creative originality. People in the marketing and creative space are their biggest risk ever. We have significant lag in regulatory framework, legislative blind spot, and also the evolution of tech is outpacing adoption and policy alignment. The fourth, and which is where I'm going to stop, is what is the future I am seeing, and not just me, but for people in the practice of AI and data as we get into the conversation. The truth is, what is already happening is this, okay? There's going to be growing AI foundation in Africa, increasing access to AI-ready data. Myself, as Lanre, and we at Optimus, we want to be bold players in this space where we're going to be generating AI-ready data for significant AI projects that is going to be transforming not just the continent, but also the marketing practice, okay? We're going to see AI adoption across SMEs to large enterprises. Everybody thinks that AI is going to be so expensive, and the only AI that the regular person knows is Gemini and ChatGPT. But we're going to see targeted marketing AI tools and capabilities that anybody can use, okay? We're going to see many more use cases like wearable voice assistants, audio tech. We're going to see heightened threat to data privacy, which is the biggest problem. 15 years ago, the Time magazine had a front page that says that data is now the new gold. 15 years now, we're saying data is no longer the new gold. We call data the digital dust because data is everywhere. But as data gets everywhere and people are trying to clean data and grab data to build solutions, we're going to see significant threat to data privacy. We're going to see the emergence of a new body of business. We call it B2A. It's going to be business to agent business model. It's emerging already. Even us at Optimus, we're trying to build one where organizations and businesses will have to sell to our AI agents so our AI agents can help you sell to the market. Of course, there's going to be a shift. And that shift, we're seeing it today. There's going to be the erosion of the creative middleman. The guys who thinks, the guy who draws, the guy who writes copy, they're going to be eroded, certainly. And we're going to see more predictive marketing. It's going to widen. Platformization of brands, we will see that. And of course, what we call 360 data integration. I talked about that. It's not just your bio data, your geo data, your transaction data, your interest data. Everything we see about you will be able to see it. There are many use cases here. I'm not sure I can talk about it because of the time, and I want us to have a conversation. How different brands in Africa brands like Jumia, Infinix, Flutterwave, how they're taking advantage of this different AI different initiative right now in our market, and how this initiative is driving business value. Okay, I talked about business to agent, erosion of the middlemen, predictive marketing. I mean, there's quite a ton, and I'm happy to share this so that you can maybe make it available on your platform to our attendees. So this is my last slide. What should we do with this information? Like I said, there's a lot that is happening. How should we respond? The first one is we need to shift our mindset as marketing practitioners, as brands. Okay, AI is not just the future, but it's today's present. And so the biggest change anyone can make just to be ready for AI is cultural, is in our heads. We need to be ready. We need to embrace it. That's number one. Number two is we need to build awareness about what AI is doing, and how it is influencing and disrupting our practice. Okay. The biggest threat with AI is what we call the speed of obsolescence. Many things are changing. What you knew in January is already expired, right? Okay. And so knowledge fuels relevance, it fuels interest. So the one of the only ways for you to take advantage of it is for you to build AI awareness and knowledge. The third one is something we don't do often. We don't create. We are usually consumers. And I want to ask us to be different as marketing people now. We need to start small and think smart. Let's pick small use cases. How do I use AI to identify my customer segment? How do I use it to track their interest? How do I use it to track their buying pattern, etc., etc.? Number four is that we need some bit of collaboration to scale. When I'm talking collaboration, I'm talking about the brands, marketing practitioners, the technology people. All of us need to sit down, and one of the ways to start is the conversation we're having right now, where we need to collaborate to say, how do we scale performance marketing and attribution understanding? How do we kill this attribution A's that we have that's not allowing us know how our spend is delivering value? And then the fifth one, like I always say, is to inspect and adapt. Like I said, AI will continue to change. We always need to check and inspect to be sure that what we're doing is working, and continue to refine it to ensure it works better and better and better, and we'll continue to see value. I hope we can have a good conversation from there, and I'm happy to get in the conversation with you and your audience, as the case may be. Thank you very much, Victor.
I'm muted. Hey, technology again. Hello. So I was muted. Thank you very much, Larry. That was a very great presentation. Please, audience, understand that you can drop your questions. Now we have a whole lot of time to be able to engage with Larry on this topic, and get him to answer as many questions as possible. But before I come to the audience and get questions from the audience, I have a question here for you, Larry. So you'd mentioned that Africa has become a mobile first economy, and this has created a massive data opportunities with over 70% of mobile penetration. But you also highlighted that governments and infrastructures are not data savvy, and they are slow to adopt. So how do brands in the African market, for instance, are they collecting and are able to leverage quality marketing data despite all of these institutional gaps?
I mean, in fairness, from an institutional, a regulatory government perspective, there's wide margin, okay, between data availability and data aggregation. One of the things we need to know is that when people talk about data, we only think in terms of digital ready data. But our markets are just emerging. Our continent is significantly traditional. And so what we need to find first is to bridge the gap between our traditional markets and the digital capabilities that we need to use to collect and measure. I mean, that's the first one. So, for example, one of the biggest data collection organization and annotation firms in the world is Scale AI. And we think that, I mean, the gap between the actual data that we have and the aggregation and use of those data is actually platformizing that capability today. And so for government, for example, I mean, the biggest data aggregation agency in Nigeria is NBS, Nigerian Bureau of Stats. And for every time MBS releases data about our economy, about our market, what you find is people arguing because, I mean, MBS can only collect data from the banks and from associations and maybe from state governors. I mean, we don't have uh, um, infrastructure to collect manual physical data, convert it to digital form, and then ingest it into different models in a way that we can use that data to drive value. And so for real, the significant gap we're going to have, okay, significant gap that we're going to have is this gap of infrastructure and capability. Government will continue to lag behind, but I tell you that, I mean, over the next few years, we're going to start seeing. I'm going to give you a small use case, for example. When we wanted to build Nigeria's first AI-powered learning management platform, okay, there was no data. It didn't occur to me that as big as Nigeria is, we didn't even have one digital textbook in Nigeria. We didn't have one. So what you
Wow.
find is that people will buy textbook online and they'll go and make copies of it, but we didn't have. So we had to recruit about 20 teachers. We asked them to develop lesson notes. We asked them to give us pictures, diagram, questions and answers. And we had to go and generate our data set and then feed it into our AI. It was the AI that ingested the model before we could start using our AI to now teach people. So we have data, but they are not in AI ready form for us to be able to use to drive marketing understanding and marketing activation. And I think that's where the gap is. But I think over time, we're going to bridge that gap and significantly we're going to have some progress.
Thank you for that answer. Fantastic one. So which then brings me to my second question, right? You said most of the data you're saying are not in AI ready form. So
I hope you got me.
hello, hi, did you hear me?
Hello, Victor.
Yeah, I can hear you. I got you. Hi, Larry. Hi, Larry. I got you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can now.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Yeah. I said you mentioned most of the data that we have in Africa are not AI ready data, right? So I was asking, right, what does AI ready data actually look like when you are dealing with fragmented market like the African market? So we have multiple languages, we have varying digital literacy level. What does an AI ready data? What does it actually look like?
I mean, that's brilliant. Language is not the biggest problem because we have language translation models today that can solve that. But let me give you an idea. We have a market, one of the biggest markets in Africa is the Tinubu market, the market in Lagos Island. Today, there are records in different silos about how many traders are there, how many visitors come to the market, how many transporters come to the market every day, how many what's it called, food sellers, vendors come to the market. The data exists because people charge those people every day, right? And that data is not AI useful. But let's imagine that those data is in different places and somebody collects them from different silos and put them in one place. So let's imagine that this data are either record of people or on a, I mean, maybe on a notebook. Somebody writes somebody's name, their age, the place that they are. Let's imagine that this exists somewhere. Now, somebody needs to take that data from paper and first digitize it. That's number one. After digitizing it, somebody now needs to turn that static data into dynamic one. How many times does Iyabasira come to the market? What is our average volume of transaction per day? How many people patronize Iyabasira per day? What is the average spend with Iyabasira per day? Does Iyabasira's typical sale go in trend or is it flat? Are there times during the week that people buy more from Iyabasira or less? Okay. Are there seasons that Iyabasira sell more? What is the volume of incremental sales per season? We need to aggregate and collect this in a way that we cannot feed this insight into an AI model. Because you know what? AI is like is a lot of intelligence that you layer on data. And so AI will be able to tell you that on Tuesday, I mean, today is a Thursday, on Thursday around 1 p.m., this is the kind of business that Iyabasira can be doing. And if Iyabasira does this much on Thursdays, I can actually give Iya Basira 20 million naira loan because she's going to make the money back in 2.5 months. But because those data is not
Hi, Larry. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. I guess we lost Larry there. Network related conversation. Please let's keep the conversation going. Let's drop comments. Please drop your question in the comment section. And hi, Larry. Welcome back. I guess that was network problem. Good to have you back. Hello, Larry.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
network. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay, it's fine, it's fine. We understand we
Yeah, so
understand
I can
how
hear
you
you. Can you
feel.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the more AI ready data we have about Iya Basira, the more Iya Basira can access loans, support, she can easily scale her business. And that is how we build a market that is scalable. Because the only way Iya Basira gets fund now is if she goes to her kids or to her friend or to the thrift cooperative group, or to the microfinance bank she's been banking with. And the microfinance bank does not even have enough information about what Iya Basira does. So those are the limitations of our market today. I don't know if you get that.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Larry, for that. So let me take you back to your presentation again. When you were making your presentation, you had mentioned the fact that marketing has gone beyond the traditional form of marketing. And with digital, there's been a lot of integration, and a lot of brands are beginning to look at the 360 data integration across all key marketing touch points. So, as you've identified 360 data integration as a key shift happening within the African market, can you walk us through a practical example of how a brand should integrate customer data from mobile money transactions, social media behavior, offline touch points to drive marketing results?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. And maybe I should use a brand. Um,
Please do.
6 years ago, 6 years ago, I used to stay in other part of town, and my favorite fast food place used to be the Place Restaurant. Okay, this was in 2019. Now, when I go into the Place Restaurant, then the Place Restaurant used to collect people's data so that for every time you buy food from them, you get some points. And then if you buy some food to a particular point, about maybe 30,000 or 40,000, when you buy your next meal, they're going to give you some discount. And I thought
Nice.
that it was interesting, but there was not enough data. This was 6 years ago. And I thought that if I was the place, I was going to build a system where the collection of this data is going to be intelligent. Not only do you collect people's bio data, because that was what they were collecting and how much people spend, but I'm going to collect their bio data, I'm going to collect their geo data, I'm going to collect their transaction data, and I'm going to establish trend. This was 6 years ago when generative AI was not even commonplace. In fact, I talked about this at actually an industry forum. Okay, I talked about why this was important, and I thought that the place could have collected that data in a way that instead of the place waiting for you to come and buy food, the place can actually be the one targeting you for food, and the place can, without struggle, almost increase their revenues by more than 30-50%. Okay, now this is collection of data because this guy buys food from the place. I love their food. I mean, there's a particular rice I've been eating now. It's called turkey rice. Okay, very particular taste. I have not seen that taste anywhere. Now imagine right now I'm on the island. They're at the Place Restaurant. I've not had my meal this morning. Imagine if the place could tell me, Lanre, we know you're on the island, you can walk into any of this store, we're going to give you a discount. Do you think I'm going to wait till I get back to the mainland before I get my meal? Of course not. But the place does not know where I am. They've not deployed an app ever. Okay, they don't have an idea of what exactly my interest is. The only thing they were trying to collect data for them was loyalty data, and they've even stopped it for the last 6 years. Since COVID, they've stopped. The same thing I recommended to Domino's then. Now, Domino's was the largest pizza brand in Nigeria. There was not a lot of competition, so Domino's didn't mind. The only thing they did was that when you were buying pizza, then they're going to collect your number, and that number essentially is for them to track when your order will be ready, and then they will just give you a notification your order was ready. But I thought that the data they were collecting then was significant, because I mean, even though you have people's number, you can turn these people. I mean, phone number is even more dynamic than email addresses, because phone number means that somebody has a phone and this person is always moving, so you can get location data. Now, if you can provide an app that is going to consume mobile data and location data, it means that you can tell this guy, right now I'm on the island, if there's an offer for a part, and I was always buying one brand of Domino's pizza then. I can't remember now. It used to be, I'm going to try and remember the brand. Now,
Is it
imagine
pepperoni?
if they can say Chicken Bali. It used to be Chicken Bali.
Okay.
No, it was Chicken Bali. Okay. Imagine, like I told you, I've not had breakfast right now. Imagine if they can say, Lanre, we know you are on the island. If you branch to our store in what's it called, Osaka, London, we're going to give you 30% discount. I don't eat pizza anymore, but I will walk in there and buy the pizza and take it to my son. And so many brands collect a lot of data, particularly consumer brands. But the data has no place, has no use, because they just collect data. It's not doing anything. But with data, you can get to know your customers better. The last example I'm going to give you is a product that we're building right now for banks. Do you know that the biggest, deepest deployment of data technology in Africa, no, in Nigeria, are the banks? The banks
True.
collect your age, your name, where you
True.
are, your BVN.
True.
But do you know that largely they don't do anything with that except to send you
True.
SMS, transaction notification? So
Absolutely.
if a bank, any bank in Nigeria, if they want to do a campaign in Ibadan, they don't know their customers that are in Ibadan. They don't. The only way they will reach their customers in Ibadan is to tell their branches, their bank branches in Ibadan, to run a campaign. Now, imagine if a bank can know who you are, what your age is, what your interest is, what your buying power is, what are your interests, and they can target their product and services to you, because they know that the only amount you have in your account is 500,000, and your disposable income out of that 500,000 is 100K, because they know the remaining 500 you have to pay your wife, you have to pay school fees, you have to pay fuel. So they know that your disposable income is 100K. Do you know how many things they can target to you for 100K? So data is sitting out there, is doing nothing. But imagine if we could, so we're building a solution that's going to allow the bank have intelligence from their data. From this intelligence, they can target new product and service. They can run more personalized and targeted marketing, and they can delight customers more. Customers will not go into the app and spend less than 2 minutes because they only want to go and do transfers, or they want to buy data, because now they can engage the digital channels, because they are now able to see the things that interest them. I'm going to stop with this example. In my family, I have 2 kids and I'm married. We have one corporate Netflix account, one corporate. But when in the Netflix corporate account, we have 4 sub accounts. I have my own account. My wife has her own account. My 2 kids have their account. When I log into the home account on the TV and I watch my sub account, I only see the kind of movies I want to watch. I watch very raw movies, in terms of very high action, high violent movies. My wife typically watch Korean movies, romance movies. So when she logs into her own account, that's what she sees. My son is now 11, is watching a lot of animated movies, and my baby, who is about 5 years, she's watching cartoons. So you see, even though we're from the same family, we bear the same name, we have the same values, we have different interests. And so imagine if Netflix were simply just showing me movies that my children like to watch. I would not be interested. Imagine if they were showing my wife things that I love to watch. She won't be interested. And so Netflix have won the data game by being able to personalize movie interest to you. And so we all love to watch Netflix. It's the same with brands in Nigeria. We need to get to that space.
This is a very interesting conversation, especially the Netflix experience that you mentioned. I remember listening to a podcast 2 days ago, and the speaker on the podcast had mentioned that, look, it was talking about social media and attention span on social, why brands need to start adopting AI and data to drive their marketing attribution. And there was something very unique the speaker had mentioned on that podcast. It was like, look, we are in the age of experience, where a lot of brands, even the social social media owners now don't target you based on where you are. They target you based on what they've seen you experience on the platform, right? You see, you go on Twitter this day, you see that on your feed, what you see mostly are the things that you previously like or content that you've watched in the past. Same thing with Instagram, same thing with Facebook, and I,
TikTok,
I, I, I
TikTok.
TikTok, absolutely. TikTok, I totally agree with you on that. Before I continue on my question. So yeah, you're right on that. Before I go on, I have a question here from you, from our audience. So I have Alex is asking, what would be the perfect blend of interaction or interaction of traditional, digital, and AI working effectively together with a use case, please?
No. So I mean, that's what I just explained, right? I just explained what Domino's could be doing. I just explained what the Place restaurant could be doing. It is first that you have a business that has, I mean, traditional business that has human touch point, and that's okay. The first and maybe most important thing is what you call data collection. So you need to collect that data, and even if you are collecting the data on paper, we need to be able to collect it digitally. So we will need to do things like translation or digitization of the data. I mean, that is first. But the second, I mean, maybe the first is to put together a strategy. Okay, let me not go operational or tactical to say you need a strategy to think about what is the potential for AI in marketing. I was making a pitch to an investor yesterday, and I was speaking confidently that big enterprises all over the world, including Nigeria, lose anything between 20 to 30% of their annual revenues from underutilized or unutilized data. I mean, every organization, particularly those that serve consumers, can drive up to 30% growth, not by new product, not by any major thing, not by sacking people, not by running lean, but by utilizing data better. And these are enterprises that does billions of dollars and billions of naira in revenues. So it's not just 20 million, it's billions of dollars. You can earn about 30% more in revenues by better, more efficient utilization of data. So when you understand that, oh, we made 200 billion this year, or we made 500 billion this year, but without doing anything anymore, that 500 billion can become 650 billion next year. Then you start to ask the question, what do we need to do? And the first one is to collect data. Okay, if you've been collecting data, because mature businesses actually collect data, they just don't do anything with it. Okay, if you've been collecting data, then you need to annotate the data, you need to organize it, you need to label it, and then we now need to ask ourselves, what's the middle point between the data that we have and growing our product and services? A lot of the time, the middle point, and like the question as was the use case, is more experiential, because people are already connecting with you. Experiential could be a mobile app that you already have, and you said that I need to build personalization on my mobile app. We don't have that today. All the mobile banking apps in Nigeria are static. I mean, I was telling somebody, I saw an image about 3 days ago where the top 10 fintech apps downloaded in Nigeria have more than 10 million each. They have about 15 million. Top 8 fintech apps in Nigeria: Kuda, OPay, MoneyPoint, OCash, PayCash, all of these guys, they have more than 10 million. But guess what? All of these apps that are downloaded by more than 10 million people each, they are all static apps. You will only see what they have built there. The apps don't know you. They cannot target it, they cannot target their product and services to you. And so we now say, oh, if this is how the consumers are interacting with me, then I need to build experiential personalization into this. If I personalize product and services, I will automatically convert more. 80%, the survey says, more than 80% of consumers only want personalized services. Think about it. When you go into a mall, many years ago, we used to do what we call window shopping, and what's it called? Aisle walking in the mall. So we used to go to what's it called? This big mall in Ikeja City Mall, ShopRite, just to go and walk around. We'll spend 22 hours shopping. People don't do that anymore. If they go into the mall, they know what they want. They don't want to have to walk through the mall for 2 hours just to shop. It's the same with digital services. They want personalized product, personalized service, support that works, interactive engagement, contextual agentic support. That's what they want. And if you can provide that, I can tell you without any shred of doubt that you're going to have not just more sales, increased loyalty. You're going to lead in the innovation space, mind share space. You're going to have top of mind awareness. And incrementally, you're going to continue to deliver and capture value. I mean, that's the way I see it.
Larry, this is is actually a very interesting one because earlier yesterday, just yesterday, I was looking at my international bank app um, for a bank account I own. I wanted to buy a car, and I was just flipping through. Okay, if I need a loan to get this car, how much am I going to be able to get? Guess what I got this morning from the same bank? An email telling me, oh, we can give you X amount of finance. And in my head, when you mentioned this now, I just realized that really I didn't make any application. All I did was just to check to say, okay, if I need to buy, well, how much can I get from the bank and what is available to me? And I totally agree with you that banks in Africa need to begin to look at personalization beyond just one size fits all. Because again, we are all unique.
Yeah,
We don't all want the
yeah,
same thing, right? So that's the top point. Ibuku is asking. I think this is based on what you said about Domino's and the place targeting you.
yeah,
So she's asking. I don't know if
yeah.
Ibuku is a boy or a girl. Let me please pardon me there. Ibuku is asking, how can they determine where you are at the moment so that they can target you based on your current location? Okay. Let me leave you to answer that.
No, no, no. It's just geolocation. It's just geolocation based services. Okay, so I
Absolutely.
have an app on my phone now. It's a weather app. Okay, yeah, it's a weather app, and it's always telling me it knows where I am now. Right now, it knows that I'm somewhere in Lagos. It's not even a Nigerian app; it's an American app. But I've enabled my geolocation services on it, so it knows where I am. It's going to tell me when exactly I'm going to have rain. If I should live here right now, it's going to tell me the volume of rain I'm going to see. I can see it actually on the graph. And so I usually tell my wife, "Oh, I'm going to see rain in the next 2 hours." I mean, geolocation is not just the future; it's been here for a while. So it's just geolocation enablement where they can know that. For example, let me give you an idea. When you are traveling either into other places in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, when you get to the airport, there are many merchants at the airport. I was telling my wife that, oh, one day I need to get into David Wedge's shop at the airport, right? And we're talking about, oh, me buying a suit at David Wedge, right? Now, I always travel to Abuja. I've been in Abuja for a while now. And so when I'm going to Abuja, I get into the airport. Nobody in the world knows that I'm in the airport. And usually, when you get to the airport, an average person stays anything between 40 minutes to 1 hour waiting for their flight. I don't know if you know. There's no place in this world when you have the attention of consumers fixed for that time, only in the airport. But there's no intelligence to know how many people are at the airport. There's no intelligence to build targeted promotionals for people at the airport. They are just waiting. And I'm not even going to talk about airlines that make you wait for hours, like 2, 6, 8 hours, where we can even do many more things at the airport. Oh. But people are there, they don't have anything to do but to browse their phones. They are on your channel, potentially, or they are on a channel that can connect to you. Why can't we engage them to say that if there are promotionals there, even if it's just 30 minutes, this guy is waiting, we can give him the best experience, the best offer, take some money out of this guy, and give him a lot of value for it. I mean, this is possible. It is.
Wow, thank you so much. Sometimes when we start this conversation, you just don't know where time goes. But before I go, I have this question for you. So going back to your presentation earlier, so you had mentioned about the rise of data privacy and its concern, right? So how should brands in Africa balance the need for a comprehensive customer data collection with emerging privacy regulation? What's the minimum viable data set needed for an effective AI marketing? There was a webinar we had, the previous webinar before this, we had OT who came and who told us like, look, we are discussing data privacy, and he had mentioned in that webinar that look, we need to collect less, just collect what is relevant. But you are here now telling us that look, we need to collect more. So how do we balance data privacy and the kind of data that we collect?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, one of the biggest data collection organization in the country, I used to work for them. Okay, and they collect this data, and they've been collecting this data for the last 30 years. This company pays maybe the highest cloud service charge in Nigeria to Microsoft in the history of Nigeria. They pay it every year. Okay, this company has been collecting data and collecting data and collecting data, and data that is potentially an asset has now become a burden because keep the data. Thing has possibilities of being an asset or a burden, okay? Or I mean, it becomes a trouble. And so when it comes to data, it is not collection of data that is the problem. It is the collecting of relevant data and how you convert that data to value. I'll give you an idea. I used to work with a bank, okay, while I was at my former employment. This bank has about 30 million customers in Nigeria. These 30 million customers generate terabytes of data almost every month, almost every day. This terabyte of data, this bank is spending a lot of money just to keep the data. But
Oh, wow. Not again. Okay, I think we lost Lanre there. Hi, I think we lost Lanre there. It's been a very interesting conversation so far, and yes, there are questions. After you mentioned if this is if the recording is going to be shared. Yes, please. Immediately after this webinar, if you had registered, you will definitely get the recording of the video recording of the webinar. And we also will upload Larry's presentation on our website so you can have access to it after this webinar. Larry is back now. Thank you, Larry. Welcome back. Okay. It's been a very
I'm
interesting.
sorry. I'm really, really
No,
sorry. Okay.
it's fine. We do understand the challenges that we face in terms of network and okay. These are some of the things that we talk about, right? So thank you so much. It's been a very interesting conversation today, and I want to keep this conversation going. But before you round up with your last word, I want to say that this webinar is made possible by Accurate Experience. Accurate Experience is your marketing agency, your go-to-market agency for for influencer marketing, content creation, digital media buying. So you can reach out to them on www.accuratexperience.com or send an email to them at info@accurateexperience.com. Thank you very much for that. Larry, last word, please.
I
Hi,
mean, is to say
Larry.
first, thank you for the invite. I hope I'm speaking to the mind. Oh, yeah, you can hear me.
Yeah, we
I'm
can hear you
speaking.
now, please, guys. Yes, we can hear you now. We
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you
me?
now, please.
Yeah.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you now, please, guys.
So I was saying that okay. Okay. My hope is that I'm speaking to the mind of the marketing practitioner or professional, right? What we thought marketing was continues to evolve. And today, AI is not an interesting fad that you should pay attention to. AI is the single most disruptive thing that we've seen, not just since the creation of the internet, almost for the last few hundred years. I'm certain that simply understanding AI and how it works would allow you have much better ideas. Even if you don't know anything, your ideas would improve. And if you move beyond ideas into the tactical and operational execution of marketing strategy, campaigns, executions, you would find that you are able to achieve more, generate greater value for your principals, for your brand, and definitely set yourself aside from others. So I'm asking us to continuously pay attention to the data. I know marketing is more experiential and glitzy. It's about the best designs, the biggest events, the colors and the lights. I mean, that's not wrong. But the best marketing today is the one that speaks to the data. It speaks to the heart of consumer. You can reach out to the data and engage them. And that's where I want to end. Data is going to be the lifeblood of everything, and you don't want to be found wanting in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. It's been an interesting conversation this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And like Larry said, data is going to be what you will need if you need to move, if you need to be able to win in the age of AI. And that's where we come in at Marketing Analytics Africa. We help brands with the market intelligence that they need to be able to optimize their return on investment. you can get to our website and see some of the services that we offer and reach out to us. We are ready and are able to help you out with your research as well as your market intelligence needs, especially for the African market. Thank you once again for joining us today. We look forward to having you next month, where we'll be having another interesting conversation. Until then, thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day.